Good evening, y'all. It is the 23rd of February, 2026. This is Spencer Keck coming at you live from Tunnel Hills with the Hillbilly Think Tank. I am the educated hillbilly. No, that's not an oxymoron. Don't call me a moron. Y'all, we know that in Kentucky, the greatest thing about living here is that we're living free, because we are always pursuing life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is our main pursuit, our main goal, main thing that keeps us going and kicking. We don't need anything else fancier than that. But if we look at what we need to get there, we do need good paying jobs. And since this year, just a couple weekends ago, as a matter of fact, was the last day that folks over in Blue Oval SK, they ended up losing their jobs at that electric vehicle battery plant that Ford had built with $94 billion worth of taxpayers' money. And, that was a very short-lived production line. I think it was 3 months? So we got all kinds of tomfoolery decisions made to cut EV incentives that helped destroy a really good thing that we had going for our economy here in Hardin County. Now, neighboring counties, and in this county also, we've got bourbon distillers, great bourbon production. So Boundary Oak, Radcliffe, here in Hardin County, great distiller. Love their bourbon, love their red wine. Yeah, this month for me is all about buying local. So I like giving them a shout out, because this is also my 23rd day of getting rid of my addiction to fascism. And one of the fascist go-getters is Jeff Bezos, but I'm not buying anything from that balding billionaire Bezos for this month. And it might go longer, but definitely for all of February. I'm deep into it. We know it's working. Folks that were counting on that great stock, that Amazon stock, doing wonderful things for them, well, they're taking at least a 10%. I heard it's even more than that now, hit due to people unsubscribing and realizing they can live without Prime. They can go buy from their neighbors' local stores. But back to local employers. So bourbon distilleries in this region, we're in the heart of it. They provide quite a few great jobs. But what's happening to our bourbon distillers? Well, we know that in Claremont, they're not going to produce bourbon for a whole year. They announced that back in December. They have rickhouses full of their product. They can't make any more and actually sell it. Why can't they sell it? Well, because after we put tariffs on Canada, and that stiff tariffs on Canada treated them like they were a redheaded stepchild, and we threatened them that if they wouldn't become the 51st, or was it 52nd state, get mixed up between which one was supposed to be 51st, 22nd between Greenland and Canada. But when we threatened that if they didn't do it voluntarily, we would send troops there, well, that was enough for some of them to say, yeah, we're not going to buy your bourbon anymore. I love our state's bourbon. I love the fact that Maker's Mark pays their folks that are full-time $30 and $34 an hour, plus full benefits. That's a real company treating people really good. Also gives full maternity leave for anybody that adopts a kid or has a kid over there. So I like to keep those people going. And that bourbon industry was booming until it came to a screeching halt a year ago with these tariffs. Canada now has banned in many of its provinces the sale of American whiskey, and that bourbon was the main thing they drank from this nation. They love Kentucky bourbon. It's better than their Pendleton whiskey. And sorry, Crown Royal, even though I used to, like your purple little bags that came with your bottles, it's better than Crown Royal. But they don't care. They'd rather have their their whiskey to drink, which isn't bourbon, instead of cowing and bowing their knee to us after our president said he would, by military force, make them a state if necessary, and he put tariffs on them in the meantime. That's just like me going next door to my neighbors in a drunken state, demanding that they give me their house and everything in it. And when they don't, me going back maybe 5 months later, going to AA, realizing how stupid that type of drunken activity is, and trying to ask them back or threaten them again, because as we know, Friday, we got word Supreme Court said tariffs were illegal, had to go through Congress. President said, well, I'm going to put 10% tariffs down. Saturday, he said 15% tariffs. Problem is, we're not just trading with Canada. Europe also buys a lot of Kentucky bourbon. They used to. They threatened last year to put a 50% tariff. The European Union said they would put a 50% tariff on our goods, but our bourbon. Then they said, we'll hold back. Let's work out some trade deals. If the trade deals weren't worked out by the end of last year, they said early this year, they were going to put on those tariffs. Well, what happened? They thought, Friday, they thought, yeah, maybe we can work something out with the trade deals. But then what happened after that? That same day, nope, we're going to put a 10% tariff on it. We're not, but one person said he is putting it on. Then he said on Saturday, 15%. So today, the European Union said, we're not negotiating anymore. Tariffs are coming. So Kentucky is going to be hit the hardest because we make the only great bourbon. And my favorite bourbons, I don't want to see them go under, not just for the fact that I enjoy good Kentucky bourbon, but I love seeing our local folks employed fairly locally. Radcliffe is local, right in our county. But if you don't work at Boundary Oak, Claremont's not far away. Neither is Bardstown. As I said before, last time I was out at Heaven Hill and did their tasting, it just so happened that it was a veteran that was doing the tasting. Combat vet, medically retired, receiving VA money, and working hardcore there to make a good living at Heaven Hill. I don't want to see him go down because more stupid decisions are made that affect our local folks. Not only was he a Kentucky veteran, he lives right here in Elizabethtown. So we have got to insist that the other oligarchs push back and stop this insanity. It's not helping our local farmers. It's not helping our local distillers. And that is hurting Kentucky employment, Hardin County employment, because many Hardin Countyans work right across the border in the counties nearby here where bourbon's made, and in our county at Boundary Oak Distillers. All right, let's see what you all got here to say. Got Steve. Steve says, everything, evening, Spencer and everyone. Hope you're doing well this evening. He canceled 2 subscriptions and nothing from Amazon this month. Plan to let it expire. There you go. Good buddy Warren. I stopped at a new store in Louisville. Pursuit opened in August. They create blended bourbon. They source from local distilleries and a distillery in the Finger Lake in New York. Awesome. Warren says, don't pick on the redheads. Hey, except for the white here, I got a lot of red beard too. So I hear you, Warren. Oh, man, good one. Captain Spooner. I wasn't here for the beginning. Do you know how much business has been lost due to tariffs? Well, yeah, that's what we're saying, Captain Spooner. Here in Kentucky, the tariffs have hit hard our soy production. Most of the soy this year just stayed on the plant and rotted, and across the United States, not even just Kentucky and Hardin County, because Canada isn't buying it. I don't know if they'll ever buy it from us again. China's not buying it. They're buying from Argentina, Brazil, and other soy producing countries. We've killed those 2 markets. For sure, Canada. Canada, like I said, they don't want to have a relationship with an abusive husband. So they're the battered wife, gone into shelter, and now found another husband. They're trading with China. They used to not trade with them when we told them not to, out of deference to their, at the time, good husband before that husband got on methamphetamine. And that's what it's like. As I said out earlier, Captain Spooner, be just like robbing my neighbor's house in a drunken rage and then expecting them to forget about it after I stole everything they had and stole their house. Canada's not forgetting it. European Union just said they're going to put a 50% tariff on our bourbon. They had held off on it amid months-long trade talks. They said, nope, trade talks are over. This 15% tariff that the Dementia Don put on Saturday on everybody, we're done. We are destroying our markets overseas. Who would want to come back to such an unstable, unreliable market? Yeah. So Captain Spooner says, so billions plus long term. This is going to be a bad year. Yeah. Like last year wasn't already, right? All right, y'all. So what can we do? Well, in the interim, got to buy local. Like I said, I'm buying Boundary Oak. Great bourbon. Really, really good red wine if you haven't tried it. My wife and I swear by it. They age it in the whiskey barrels. Man, is it good. That's some good red wine. Great folks that work there at the distiller. And if you go in there, you're always going to have someone smiling, and they give you a couple free samples. Very nice spot. Like I said, I'm still going to keep buying Maker's Mark because they pay their people $30 and $34 an hour all the way out there in Loretto, Kentucky. They don't have to. Other distillers don't pay that much, but those guys do. And they're still millionaires in the Samuels family. But they know treating their people like gold makes them treat the customers like gold. You go out there to Star Hill Farms, you're going to see regenerative farming. You're going to eat organic food grown either on Star Hill Farms or within 30 miles. And you're going to have the waitress staff. They're getting paid that much good money and full benefits. They treat you like you're their family and long lost friend when you eat out there at Star Hill Restaurant. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep buying local, keep my money local so we can all keep helping each other out. Mutual aid at its finest at the local source. Green River has been getting more in my business lately. Makers is regular also. Yeah, Green River's gotten better. For a bit there, I didn't think it was, my go-to list, but it has been moving up there to where I will give it, an occasional shot too. But again, just because of how they treat people. Love Maker's Mark, because Boundary Oak, they're good folks there, and they're right here in this county. I like them too. So others, again, buy from local farmers. Get some folks together. If you want to contact me, the DMs, I'll tell you how. I know some local farmers you can buy, a young steer from. Go in with your friends, pitch, your money together, buy the steer, have it slaughtered, have it dressed out, and share meat for a year. Buying local, knowing how organic it is or is not. You can go watch and see. You can go visit the actual, production of the animal. You know what you're getting. You can do that right here in Hardin County. You can do it in counties all around if you're not in my viewing area. All right, y'all. Together we can make it through it. That's mutual aid. Buying from our local farmers, going in with your local friends, splitting something, the cost of something like that, and helps everybody out. And you know what you're getting in the long term. So, y'all, we know again here in Kentucky that we love our neighbors as ourselves. We know that we are our brother's keeper and we are our sister's keeper. We're not like Cain, where we'll kill Abel or watch him die as we hurt him. We help each other because united we stand, divided we fall here in Kentucky. We know that. And we can't be divided if we're loving one another as ourselves. So y'all, bless your corazon. Have a great evening. I'll catch you tomorrow night.